Good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar on how to comply with ISO 13485 Quality Management System and Quality Assurance AnyWare. Thank you for your time and thank you for your attendance today. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm with team AnyWare Applications. So I'm with my colleagues today and we'll be talking about ISO 13485 and how to comply these standards digitally with no paper involved. As you may know, we have these webinars regularly, actually on a weekly basis. So if you like to see webinar recordings of previous weeks regarding how to comply different quality and management standards digitally on Quality Assurance AnyWare, you can visit our YouTube channel, AnyWare Apps YouTube channel on YouTube, and you can click playlist and you can see the recording of our webinars available on our YouTube channel. So you can watch anytime you like and you can share with your colleagues. Also, we have coming up list of webinars available. So next week we'll be talking about SQF. SQF is a standard quality management standard in the food industry, and we'll be talking about how one can comply with SQF digitally on Quality Assurance AnyWare. And following weeks, we'll be talking about good manufacturing practices for healthcare and pharma industry. Also, the following week on the day of May 25th, we'll be talking about AS9100 in aerospace and defense industry. And we'll be also talking about corrective actions in the first week of June. So we have a lot going on in terms of webinars. We are very excited and we'll be sharing more and more insightful webinars with you in coming weeks. So let's talk about ISO a little bit. Those who may join our previous week's webinar, we talked about ISO itself as International Standardization Organization. So ISO is an international organization where it is based in Switzerland and was established in 1946. So since 1946, it's been organizing and setting standards for quality management systems. The most popular one is ISO 9001, as we know it, followed by ISO 14001. And as for medical device industry, there is a standard called ISO 13485, and we'll be talking about it in more detail in a second. And as side note, I'm using the notes from MS Consulting from our solution partner, Alex Kvartirov. He was so nice to share his notes with me, so I like to mention these credits before I go into details. Just so you know, for your information, MS Consulting is a consulting company specialized in ISO, and they do audits and consulting in many different industries. Before talking about ISO 13485, there are, of course, principles of quality management in ISO, and these principles that we need to talk about is because that's basically the foundation of any ISO standard. There is customer focus principle as to be customer focus and to meet customer requirements. There is leadership principle as since leadership is very important for companies to go towards the same direction as an organization. Engagement of people is engaging with all the employees and team members we have in our companies to help them basically become more motivated, be recognized and support for their enhancement of their specialties. Process approach is basically each system and each organization has processes, and individual processes are very important. Once we understand the importance of these individual processes and we basically try to improve our processes, these small process by process, then we can have a better organization as to reach our goals and objectives. That's actually what it stands for. Improvement is very important because that's basically addressing continuous improvement, and continuous improvement as well as customer satisfaction. These are two major objectives of ISO standards in essence. And as for evidence-based decision making, when we make any decisions or when we are in the process of making decisions, we are dealing with uncertainty. We don't know what's going to be the outcome at the end of the day. So what we do is we try to gather information We try to have data and we try to make a decision. So that is actually what it is referring to. As professionals, as companies, we need to put together data, information, and based on that data, we can make decisions towards the objectives of the company. That's basically the idea. And when we are running our organization, there are different relationships that we need to manage. That may be internally, that may be with customers, that may be with stockholders, that may be with stakeholders, suppliers, and so on. Because they have influence over our company, we have to have a good relationship. We need to manage the relationship in a way that it's going to be helpful for our company to reach its goals and objectives. But these 7 principles are basically the foundation. In a way, it's a backbone of ISO standards. And when we are putting together our plan, we need to operate based on the schematic: plan, do, check, and act. So we need to plan our activities and our objectives, and how we're going to basically go from where we are to our objectives. And in certain points, we need to also check our activities, how we are doing. Are we doing according to our plan? Are we reaching our goals? Are there any obstacles? How we can go around it? How we can solve it? And then we need to act accordingly. So this is basically the schematic that talks about how we should be running our ISO quality management standard. And if you notice, in the core of it, in the center of it, there is leadership. And leadership is basically the core principle in quality management systems principles to help companies organize their resources and as a group, as a team, as one body, go towards the same direction. In that sense, leadership is very critical, as you see on this schematic. So when we see ISO 9001, which is the holy grail of all ISO standards, and ISO 13485, there are differences. So there are similarities. Yes, they are both running on the quality management principles that I just mentioned, 7 of them. And there are also, of course, differences. So some of the differences, for example, in the product management part of it. So how we realize the product, the realization process, and the life cycle of the process, as well as resource management is another difference. Also, there are measurement analysis. The analytics may be different as for ISO 13485. And when we go into detail, of course, there are specific requirements as well as for ISO 13485 in any company, medical device and medical material manufacturing. But there are certain documentation requirements. Also, the work environment requirements are another of them, as for having a safe and secure work environment and production environment. There needs to be a contamination control process in place. Also, since one is manufacturing healthcare-related medical device products, cleanliness and also hygienic environment is very important, and there needs to be policies and procedures in place to make sure that continues in a positive way, having a clean environment, in a hygiene environment, and also there needs to be a way to have reports regularly to see how company is doing to follow these requirements. So all these requirements, of course, you can also satisfy digitally as well without any need of paper, and we will address them in a second. There are suggested key procedures for establishing a quality management system as to ISO 13485. So some of them may be, for example, document and reports control. So when we say documents, we are referring to policies, procedures, SOPs, and forms to run the organization. Also, there is risk management procedure, which is very, very important. Also, risk management is mandatory for ISO 9001, is to assessing the risk from different points of view, from the process management point of view, from IT infrastructure point of view, from environment point of view. So we need to sit down and think ahead what may be our risks and how we can basically address it, and what kind of contingency plans we can have in place if that happens, that takes place, that risk basically takes place. So that is very important. Other than that, I will say design and development, as for product lifecycle management, as well as corrective action, preventive action procedures are very important. It's because with CAPA, with corrective and preventive action, we actually move forward as a company. That's how we basically improve our processes. So why ISO is good for your organization? Of course, the idea is to improve processes, to increase customer satisfaction. And once we increase customer satisfaction, we can actually increase our revenue and profitability. That is basically the end goal. And let's keep it in mind, even though we talk about revenue and profitability, ISO doesn't cover finance part of operations. It basically covers all part of operations but finance. But even if that's the case, at the end of the day, we like to increase our revenue, our sales, and profitability, that's for sure. Other reasons ISO is good for your organization is because your customers may require you to be ISO certified. Also, your competitors may be ISO certified, so you need to also match that competitive advantage. Also, in some cases, sometimes local, state, or federal authorities may require you to have ISO certification. So that is very critical. So of course, that's not easy. There are challenges. So we also talk to different customers, different companies, since we are very experienced in quality management systems digitally. And some of the challenges we have been hearing from our customers are it involves too much paperwork. Right? So there are too many paperwork that we need to deal with. And the paperwork is in the policies, procedures, documents, and so on. So you need to also revise these documents from time to time, because if you have a way to run your operations in a better way, you may want to update your documents accordingly. You need to revise them. So this revision process may be challenging. Also, sometimes companies lose sight of the standard when they are running their operations. You are busy doing your work on daily basis, but you may also lose sight as to quality management system. Sometimes that may be also another challenge. And it is also difficult for companies to take corrective action sometimes. It's because you need to make a decision based on evidence, because they are on paper or Excel sheets or Word files. It's very difficult for them to gather data in a sensible way, make analysis, and take corrective action. So these are typical challenges that we have seen, and we have been seeing in the marketplace. So the good thing is, with the help of digital transformation in compliance and quality management, many of these challenges can be addressed. So right now, with all the documentation, all the paperwork that you have for policies, procedures, SOPs, and forms, you can manage them digitally with no need of paper. Updates are much easier because every time you do a revision, system can update the documents. As soon as that's updated, approved, it sends automatic updates to team members. So everyone is notified in the teams. Audits are easier to run. It is because we can run the audits digitally now, and also it comes with notifications and reminders. So it is very difficult to lose sight of the standards. And also it is easier to take corrective actions now. It's because you can gather data digitally, instantly, and you can make your decisions according to the data, and you can take corrective actions for continuous improvement. So keeping this in mind, we put this framework together. We call this proactive quality management framework. And this framework has three parts: assurance, control, and predict. Assurance refers to your quality management system. In this particular case, we are talking about ISO 13485. And the second part is control. So you like to have your controls in place as to how you are running your operations, and you need to make sure you are following the policies and procedures in place. These controls may be in your administrative operations, maybe in your manufacturing operations, maybe doing manufacturing or after manufacturing, for example. So that control needs to be in place. Also, another piece is that we have to have the predict feature in place, and that is basically referring to IoT devices. What kind of IoT devices we have, and with the help of smart sensors nowadays, we can remotely monitor the temperature of our office, of our clinic, of our manufacturing place, for example. So and we can take action before anything happens. If the temperature is out of range, if it is changing dramatically, if the humidity changes, the sensors senses the change immediately, and you can take action accordingly. So these three pillars, I will say, assurance, control, and predict, keeps your organization together to comply with quality management system, and you can actually comply digitally. Here, the assurance piece is the piece that actually keeps everything together in a way that it is actually the quality management system in place, and control and predict follows accordingly. So keeping this framework in mind, we have our product range. We have the Quality Assurance AnyWare. It helps you manage your assurance piece in the framework, that is the quality management system management. And also we have the workflow AnyWare in place that helps you manage the control part of the framework with quality control, with quality checks and other control points. And finally, we have asset management AnyWare to help you manage the predict part of the framework, so that if there is anything out of range in your machinery, equipment, in your work environment, production environment, then you can take action with asset management AnyWare. And one of the good things is that three of our products, Quality Assurance AnyWare, Asset Management AnyWare, and Workflow AnyWare, they have APIs available. So with the help of the APIs, you can connect with any IoT device, any manufacturing execution system, any CRM system, and any ERP system to pull and push data. The idea is to have integrated management system for the customer, so there will be no double entry needed. That is basically the idea. So you can also exchange the data whenever it is needed. So let's talk about Quality Assurance AnyWare in more detail. So Quality Assurance AnyWare, we have been developing Quality Assurance AnyWare since 1998, and we have more than 1,000 customers, corporate customers, available. And thanks to these customers, we have more than 1 million professional users. So with these users and with the help of this customer range that we have a lot of experience in many different standards and different industries. So Quality Assurance AnyWare is designed to help companies comply with many different standards, set by ISO 9001, ISO 13485, 14000, SQA, PRC, or others, you name it. Product is very flexible. It has a web-based infrastructure. What it means is once we deploy Quality Assurance AnyWare, you can access the system wherever you are. Just like connecting a website, you can connect the system with a web browser. It is that simple. And we properly train the quality management team. So once we train them, they can manage the system without any additional help and support from IT department or consultants. Of course, our support continues all the time, 100%. But in normal conditions, in normal cases, they can manage the system themselves, and they can own it, and they can manage it accordingly. Quality Assurance AnyWare works on cloud as well as on-premise servers with its modern architecture, and it has many different modules. It has, I will say, more than 30 modules, and this modular structure gives options to customers, and we basically give options to customers as in they can choose whichever module they like. They can choose a module, they can choose a group of it, depends on what they comply with and what they like to digitize. So this is a great advantage. There is Control Document Manager module. It helps companies basically manage their policies, procedures, and documentation. There is a corrective action module, audit engine module to manage the corrective actions as well as audits to gather feedback, insights, and make sure everyone is following the policies and procedures in place. There is a training module to manage the training records and activities of team members and companies. And there is collaboration module to help companies manage their machinery and equipment and devices, as to manage the adjustment of them regularly. Okay, great. So that is my piece. So what I like to do is I like to hand it over to Sam. Sam is our pre-sales software engineer, and he'll be showing us some parts of the system. Sam, are you ready?
Unmuted.
Yes, I'm ready. Hello.
Okay, let's make you the presenter.
Sure. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, nice. So, thank you for joining this webinar. So this is Sam. And this is the home screen after logging to Quality Assurance AnyWare. So you can find all your pending tasks and requests for approval on this home screen. So, and you can click on this widget and get a quick connection, for example, like the one waiting for your comment and the one waiting for your approval to right on this home screen. Okay. And on the top left, you can find the main menu of Quality Assurance AnyWare. And all the permissions in the system are permission-based, which means it's based on your position, your role, your profession, your group, or department. So, and in short, not everyone can see everything in the system. Since now I'm logging in as the administrator, like you can see on the top right, so I can have a full control of the system and I can find all the modules in Quality Assurance AnyWare, and it's providing over 30 modules in the system. And today we will get into the waste management, which will help you to comply with 13485. Since in the health device and healthcare industry, you will, and I believe you should have the waste from during your operations, and you have to handle this in a proper way. So, for example, like having a licensed transportation company or the carrier to take care of your waste and send it to appropriate receiver or the company that is licensed to handle the waste. For example, like disposing them or recovering them. And in this module, you can find two different forms, which one is the hazardous waste and one is the non-hazardous waste. The difference between these two is one, we have to assign it to a licensed or certified transportation company, and to the non-hazardous waste, we can get anyone as the transportation parties to the destination. And today I will show you how we can manage the hazardous waste by filling the form that you can see on the screen. So right here you can find all the hazardous waste record on the screen, and you can add a new record. So at this point, right here, we can recording like the serial number and the location and the status of this waste. So is this at the manufacturer, or it is doing transportation, or it has been sent to the receiver. And after that, in this module, you can enter the manufacturer name and the household code, for example, like this one, and the waste definition. So it can be defined in the system based on the regulation that you have in your country, for example, in the US, and also in any other country. So since in different country they have different code or the definitions for handling or category for handling the waste. In addition, you can record the physical form of your waste and also the color of it. And also you can save your weight of your waste, like 100 tons, and how you're gonna to store them, like in a barrel, in a box, and so on, and how many barrel that you have for pickup, and the data that it is ready for pickup for the transportation company. And after that, we can enter the information of the transportation company, like who gonna to pick up the waste and the license number of this company, and the car plate excuse me, and the car plate for the vehicle or the truck or the train or the ship, the vessel that is gonna to pick up your waste. And we can choose the delivery date, like the date we pick up the waste, and also the delivery cost and the port cost. And at last, once the receiver receives the waste, we can update the information, like who pick up and store our waste. And you can enter or pick and choose the company name and the license number. Since those waste is hazardous, so we need a license number that recorded in the system, and how many weight is picked up or it is stored in this location. For example, like we enter 100 tons is picked up, so let's say 99 tons is received. And also we can pick and choose the disposal and recovery method in list, and the date that we receive this waste from by this company. And also we can enter the disposal price, for example, like $2,000, and save this. And now it is sent to a it is saved in the system, and we can find those in the Quality Assurance AnyWare system, and find out the status and the manufacturer and the transportation company and the receiver company in this list. Also, there's a reporting tool available in this module which allows you to create your own report, and you can pick and choose what kind of type that you are going to targeting on for your report, and the waste pickup date, and the date that the company stored it in the receiver company. And you can have those report right here as in a list, and you can have a graphical report which allows you to have your data in a chart, and on the left you can have your own condition for your report, like what you're gonna put in the y-axis and the time frame. So this is based on the wage that we have, or we can have the price for the disposal and create our new graphical report. It will be shown to you in a bar chart and in a table. You're more than welcome to export this into an Excel for sharing with any responsible parties. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Sam. Let's see if we have any questions from the audience. And when I look at it, so one of the questions is about corrective action. So how do you manage corrective action in Quality Assurance AnyWare, and how to make root cause analysis? So that's a good question. So what Sam showed was actually about
Muted.
waste management. So that's what we focus on today. We have more than 30 modules available on Quality Assurance AnyWare. So one of them is actually for corrective action. So on the corrective action module, you can actually manage your corrective actions as well as your non-conformity. So that's an important module. It's because it helps you manage your corrective actions in a way that you can have continuous improvement in your organization. So that's very critical, and that's available in Quality Assurance AnyWare. One of the things that we do is we keep our contact information on the screen. So if you have any questions, or if you like to have one-to-one sessions with us regarding your company and how we can help you, you can definitely drop us an email, and we can schedule time with you, and we can go in detail. Let's see if you have any other questions in place. Okay, so another question that I can address is how do you get a feedback for corrective action? So that is another that's another good question. So the way to get a feedback is one of them is, for example, customer complaints, right, or customer feedback. That may be positive, that may be a complaint. You can collect it in Quality Assurance AnyWare. Also, there is a way to put together your surveys. There's a survey module. So with the help of survey module, you can listen to your customers, you can listen to your stakeholders, for example, and your prospects. You can get some feedback. Another module is called suggestion module. With the help of suggestion module, you can get suggestions internally from your team members. And that may be also a good idea to get some ideas as well as some feedback as to how you are doing. So that may be an opportunity for taking any corrective action. Other one is basically the predict piece that I mentioned earlier. So the IoT devices and smart sensors, basically they help you get the data and insights as to how you are doing. That's also an important piece of information that you need to utilize as for getting feedback and for continuous improvement. So there are different modules that you can use. Again, we love to hear from you. You can drop us an email, we can schedule time together, and we can go in detail, because it's really the case by case, company by company. So one company does it in one way, another company does it in another way. So we love to see your requirements to see how we can actually match and exceed your expectations. That's our goal. Okay, great. I think we addressed all the questions for today. If there is another questions, feel free to contact us and let us know. Before we end our session, I'd like to remind you that we have a YouTube channel called AnyWare Apps YouTube channel. You can go to our playlist, and in the playlist there is a webinar recording section, and in that section you can see our previous webinars with regards to quality management standards and quality assurance AnyWare working together. So that's an important resource that we like to share with you. Also, let me remind you our coming webinars. We're going to have a webinar next week about SQF. SQF is a quality management standard for food industry. So we'll be talking about how one can comply SQF standards digitally on quality assurance AnyWare. And following weeks, we'll be talking about good manufacturing practices in pharma and healthcare industry. We'll be talking about AS9100 standards in aerospace and defense industry. And in the first week of June, we'll be talking about corrective action management digital. I would like to thank you for your time and for your attention and interest. Much appreciated. We look forward to seeing you in our coming webinars. And if you have any questions and if you'd like to have one-to-one meetings, please contact us anytime. Our phone number and our email address is on the screen right now, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.